It was the summer of 2014 when I was 15. My two best friends, Jason and Tyler, invited me to a sleepover at Jason's uncle's cabin in the woods. His uncle had gone out of town, and the cabin was empty for the weekend. To us, that sounded like the perfect chance to stay up late, play video games, and just hang out without parents breathing down our necks. The first night started off fun. We ate way too much junk food, told dumb jokes, and played Xbox until about midnight. But at some point, the Wi-Fi kept cutting out. Jason joked about the woods being haunted, and Tyler added in some story about a man who had supposedly gone missing around that area years ago. I laughed it off, but something about the way the woods pressed against the cabin windows made me uneasy. At around 1 a.m., we heard what we thought was the sound of twigs snapping outside. Jason muted the game and we all froze. The snapping came again, closer this time, like someone stepping carefully, trying not to be noticed. Jason whispered, "Probably a deer," but none of us moved. Then came the knock. A slow, steady knock on the back door, the one that led directly into the woods. None of us answered. We didn't even breathe. Whoever it was didn't knock again. But instead, the back doorknob began to turn. Jason grabbed a baseball bat his uncle kept near the couch, and we all rushed to the bedroom, locking the door. We huddled in silence, listening. For the next 15 minutes, we heard footsteps circling the cabin. At one point, the sound of fingernails dragged across the wall outside the bedroom. When the sounds finally stopped, we thought maybe whoever it was had left. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed something at the bedroom window. A man's face, pale, wide-eyed, pressed against the glass, grinning at us. We screamed, and Jason swung the bat at the window. The man ducked and disappeared into the woods. We didn't sleep for the rest of the night. When Jason's uncle came back the next morning, he found boot prints all around the cabin. They weren't his. No one was ever caught. To this day, I still don't know who that man was or what he wanted. This happened back in 2011 when I was 13. My friend Megan invited me and two other girls to sleep over at her place. Her house was older, with a finished basement where we planned to camp out. The night started out normal: movies, popcorn, scary stories. But around 2 a.m., we started hearing this faint tapping sound. At first, we thought it was just pipes or the house settling. But then it grew louder, more deliberate. Tap, tap, tap. We turned off the movie and listened. The sound seemed to be coming from the basement storage closet. Megan laughed nervously, grabbed a flashlight, and slowly opened the door. Nothing, just boxes and an old wardrobe. We laughed it off and went back to our movie. About half an hour later, one of the girls woke us all up. She swore she heard whispering. We all listened closely, and sure enough, there it was. A soft, raspy voice coming from inside the storage closet. This time, none of us wanted to open it. Megan's dog, who had been lying upstairs, suddenly started barking like crazy, scratching at the basement door to be let down. We opened the door and the dog bolted straight to the storage closet, growling and barking at it. That's when the whispering stopped. We were terrified, so Megan called her mom, who was upstairs asleep. Her mom came down, rolled her eyes, and yanked the closet door open. But again, nothing. Except this time, one of the boxes had been pushed forward, even though none of us had touched it. Her mom dismissed it, but we begged her to let us sleep upstairs. She finally agreed. The next morning, when Megan's dad checked the basement, he found muddy footprints leading from the small window on the side of the house to the closet. The police said someone had likely been trying to hide down there. The scary part? The window lock had been broken from the outside. When I was 16, I had a sleepover with 4 friends in my backyard. Instead of staying inside, we thought it would be fun to pitch a big tent and spend the night under the stars. It was supposed to be harmless fun. Around midnight, we were all lying in our sleeping bags, joking around and telling scary stories. Then we heard footsteps. At first, we assumed it was my dad checking on us. but when we called out, no one answered. A few minutes later, we saw a shadow move across the thin fabric of the tent. Someone was standing right outside. One of my friends unzipped the tent a few inches to peek out, but there was no one there. We figured maybe it was just our imagination, until about 20 minutes later, when we all heard the sound of heavy breathing. It was coming from right outside the tent door. We all froze. The breathing was deep, shaky, like someone trying not to laugh. I whispered to my friend to grab her phone and call my parents, but before she could, the tent zipper started to slowly come down on its own. We screamed and all shoved our weight against the door, zipping it back up and holding it shut. My dad came rushing out with a flashlight and found us panicking. He searched the yard, but no one was there. The next morning, though, we found something in the grass. A torn piece of clothing, like an old flannel sleeve. None of us recognized it. Whoever had been outside our tent that night, they were close enough to touch us. And if we hadn't screamed, I sometimes wonder if they would have climbed inside.